Have you ever seen a luxury SUV wrapped in 50 layers of industrial-grade plastic? It looked like a giant, shiny leftover sandwich sitting in the middle of a driveway. My HOA president, Linda, decided she owned the neighborhood and could park wherever she wanted. She thought she was above the law, but she didn't know I had 20 rolls of heavy-duty pallet wrap in my garage. It all started on a Tuesday morning. I was running late for a massive presentation at work. I had spent all night preparing, and my career depended on this meeting. I rushed into the garage, hit the door opener, and waited for the light to spill in. But when the door went up, I saw nothing but a wall of white metal. Blocking my entire driveway was Linda's massive white SUV. She wasn't just near the curb. She was dead center, blocking me completely. I couldn't even squeeze a bicycle past her car. I ran over to her house and pounded on the door. Linda answered the door, holding a glass of wine. It was 9 a.m. She was wearing a bright pink silk bathrobe with President embroidered on the back in gold letters. She looked at me and smirked. "Linda, move your car right now. You're blocking me in, and I have a career-defining meeting." I said, trying to keep my voice from shaking with anger. She took a slow sip of her wine and smiled. "Oh, relax, Alex. I'm conducting a visual inspection of the neighborhood's curb appeal from my window. My car needs to stay there for official HOA business. It gives me the best angle." I couldn't believe my ears. A visual inspection? You're inside drinking wine in a pink bathrobe. Move it, or I'm calling a tow truck. She laughed right in my face. "Honey, I have the towing company on speed dial. They won't touch the president's car. Take an Uber. Deal with it." Then she slammed the door. I was forced to take a taxi to work, fuming the entire way. My boss wasn't happy that I was late, and the stress was eating me alive. But during the ride home, I made a stop. I went to the hardware store with a plan. I wasn't going to damage her car. That would be illegal. But I was definitely going to protect it. When I got home that evening, her SUV was still there. She had left it overnight just to spite me. She wanted to show me who was boss. Instead of getting mad, I pulled out the HOA Rule Book. Linda used these rules like a weapon to bully everyone. So I decided to use them against her. I found Rule 402, Section C. All vehicles parked outdoors must be kept clean and protected from the elements. Protected from the elements, I whispered to myself. "You got it, Linda." I went into my garage and grabbed the boxes I bought earlier. 20 rolls of industrial shrink wrap. This isn't the flimsy plastic you use for your kitchen leftovers. This is a heavy-duty stuff warehouses use to wrap heavy bricks and engines to pallets. It is thick, sticky, and impossible to tear with your bare hands. Once it's layered, it becomes like a shell of hard rubber. I waited until 2 a.m. The neighborhood was dead silent. The only light came from the street lamp reflecting off her white windshield. I put on my heavy work gloves. I tied the end of the first roll of plastic to her rear bumper to anchor it. I looked at Linda's dark house one last time and whispered, "Safety first." Then the operation began. Wrapping that car was honestly the most therapeutic thing I've ever done. Round and round I went. The first few layers were thin, like a light glaze. But I didn't stop. I went over the hood. I went under bumpers. I wrapped the roof. I made sure to wrap the side mirrors so tightly that they folded in against the car body. I wrapped the windshield wipers so they couldn't even be lifted. The best part was the door handles. I pulled the plastic so tight that the handles were completely buried under the pressure. There was nothing left to grab onto, just a smooth, slippery surface of industrial plastic. By the time I finished the 15th roll, the SUV didn't look like a vehicle anymore. It looked like a giant silver cocoon or a futuristic art piece. You couldn't tell where the doors ended or where the windows began. I applied 50 layers in total. Before the very last layer, I placed a bright orange note on the driver's side window, facing out. The note read, "Per HOA Rule 402, this vehicle has been professionally protected from the elements. You're welcome, Alex." I sealed the note under the final layer of plastic. The car was now airtight. Oxygen couldn't get in, and Linda definitely couldn't get in. My arms were sore, but I went to sleep with the biggest smile on my face. The next morning, I didn't need an alarm clock. Linda's screams woke me up perfectly. I made a fresh cup of coffee and stood by my window to watch the show. Linda was standing in my driveway, still in her bright pink bathrobe, but now she was also wearing pink fluffy slippers. She was staring at the silver blob that used to be her car. She looked like she was having a hallucination. She was frantically jamming the unlock button on her key fob. Click, click. You could hear the faint beep-beep coming from deep inside the 50 layers of plastic, but nothing moved. The tension of the plastic was so strong that the doors were held shut like they were welded. She tried to grab the door handle, but her hands just slid off the slippery surface. She tried to claw at the plastic with her long, manicured nails, but industrial wrap is designed to hold tons of concrete. Her nails didn't stand a chance. I walked outside, slowly sipping my coffee. Good morning, Linda. Your car looks exceptionally protected today. Not a speck of dust can get on that paint job. She spun around, her face turning as red as a tomato. What did you do? I can't get in. I have a board meeting. I was just following your rules, Linda. I said calmly. Rule 402. I noticed your car was out in the elements, and as a concerned neighbor, I wanted to help you stay compliant. Linda ran back into her house and came out with a pair of kitchen scissors. She looked ridiculous, running around her SUV sandwich in a pink bathrobe. She tried to jab the scissors into the plastic, but 50 layers of industrial wrap act like hard rubber. The scissors just bounced off the surface. She couldn't even get a grip to start a cut. She was crying and screaming now. She had to call a professional locksmith and a handyman. It took them an hour with heavy-duty box cutters and saws to slowly peel the plastic off. It looked like they were peeling a giant silver banana. The plastic was so tight that it left a sticky residue all over the windows and the trim, but the cherry on top was still coming. Just as they finished peeling the car and Linda was about to get in, the tow truck I had called finally showed up because the car was still blocking my driveway, and now it was a nuisance and a hazard, according to my own report. The driver didn't care about her HOA sticker anymore. He saw a car blocking a private driveway and hooked it up. Linda stood there in her pink bathrobe, screaming at the tow truck as her SUV was hauled away to the impound lot. She hasn't parked anywhere near my house since that day. Sometimes, the best way to deal with a bully is to take their own rules and wrap them up tight. If you love this plastic revenge story, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss our next neighborhood justice story. Have you ever had a neighbor block your driveway? Let us know in the comments below. See you in the next one.